Ken Trahan, Lenny Vangilder, SportsNola.com. Big sports weekend coming up. College basketball. Tulane's won a couple of games in succession. They're doing a good job under Ed Conroy. LSU faces Kentucky. And Lenny, I was reminded about that when Dale Brown spoke at the LHSAA convention about how LSU had a large mountain to climb, and they finally climbed it, scaled it, beat Kentucky, and then whipped them at Rupp Arena, and things had changed. And in many ways, it's the same way now. Trent Johnson is trying to scale that mountain, starting over again against a great program.
Yeah, and he's got a real task on his hands tomorrow. Kentucky is the most talented team in America, and we are now, 64 days to the Final Four in the Superdome, and I would be very surprised if they are not one of the 4 teams that are practicing 9 weeks from today, getting ready for those semifinals on Saturday, March the 31st. So it's going to be a very difficult mountain for Trent Johnson and company to climb, but it's the kind of opportunity you relish. You've got the #1 team coming into your building. Should be a great crowd tomorrow at the PMAC, and it's one of those games that you tune in. It's kind of like the first round of the NCAA tournament. You never know when you might see that that great upset happen. It's one of the things that makes it so special. That's the opportunity you get when #1 comes to your house.
Hamilton and Hickey have played well for LSU. They're a work in progress, but they're making progress. I mentioned Tulane, and their freshman Tarrant has really played well. 33 the other night in an outstanding effort against SMU.
Yeah, a freshman record broke the mark of Anthony Reed when Ken Berthelon and I were calling Tulane games back in 1989. I think I might even remember that one. Who knows? But Tulane 2 in a row, and you know what impressed me Wednesday night? They scored 17 points in the first half, came back and scored 63 in the second half. This Tulane team has kind of been built around defense a little bit, but they got it going the other night on the offensive end. A great job making that comeback, and maybe Ed Conroy's starting to turn the corner a little bit here in his second year.
And doing so, losing Jimmins. That's an outstanding accomplishment. He's a good coach, and that's pretty obvious at this point. From the standpoint of pro football, of course, the Pro Bowl, who cares? Go Saints. And with regard to the Super Bowl, we'll see. Interesting that the Patriots are still a field goal to a 3.5-point favorite, despite Brady and unknown shoulder woes and not playing well in their championship game against the Ravens, and Gronkowski being hurt. Maybe things are setting up for the Giants again. Who knows?
Maybe so. And I tell you what, I went back and watched some of the Giants-Patriots regular season game. And, talk about a game that totally shifted gears. It was 0-0 at halftime, and the last 7 minutes of that game, it looked like Saints games we're used to seeing. It was back and forth down the field, which is great play after great play. And, you can only hope that a week from Sunday we have the same kind of entertainment on the field.
LSU and Tulane, media days kicking off baseball. Tulane, a cautious optimism. They hope to be better and get healthier. LSU, a little bit more optimism coming off of a disappointing year, but they're ranked 8th in the country in the preseason, largely due to pitching.
Exactly. Paul Maneri made a great point. As you look at the 8 teams that went to Omaha last year with the new bats, and every one of them to a man had outstanding pitching stats with low ERAs. And that's the goal, and that's kind of the benchmark that he's putting out there for his group. And he's got a very talented group of sophomore starting pitchers that he's bringing back. They were all freshmen at the end of last year, starting in the rotation. Now they're all back. Can they do that? We'll see. Tulane trying to get back for the first time in 4 years.
Prep, a few big notes, of course, big votes in Baton Rouge, and schools can play up one class now by virtue of a vote that passed on Friday, and it passed by a substantial margin, I might add. So the 4th time was the charm for Jesuit Principal Mike Jambaluka. Kudos to you, Mike, for a job well done to stick with it. Wesley Watts of Zachary took guts as well for you to step up. And that means schools can play up one class. Could mean the Catholic League back. Could mean Curtis plays up a class. Could mean Bayou Parish teams have a chance to maybe rejoin. Could mean Varnado gets a chance to play up. I just think it's a good rule because of geography, because 5 classes don't make any sense, Lenny.
Well, exactly. There are going to be times when you need to be able to play up a class, and people may just want to do it because they want to compete at a higher level. But keep in mind this now. This is something that doesn't start until the fall of 2013, till the next round of reclassification. It happens every 2 years. It passes now, but you reclassify on the odd-numbered years, starting with the fall of that odd-numbered year. So this is not something we're going to see a true effect of, really, for 20 months now.
And finally, not to publicize yourself, but I got an award this past Thursday, and I don't really want to get into detail about it, except to say this. The reason that we do this is because of the people we meet along the way, coaches, administrators, and so forth. And over 34 years, I've met a ton of them. But here's why I do it. I covered the Brother Martin Jesuit Wrestling Meet, a dual meet that Brother Martin won a district championship in. Big crowd, big meet, storied programs, 35 state championships, and a gentleman with a cane walked up to me. And he said, Kenny, and called me out, and I looked at him, and I'll be the first one to tell you I did not recognize him. That guy was Jay Rink, who was a brilliant player at Brother Martin and at Tulane University. I did some of Jay's games for television back in the day. And Jay said, St. Augustine game, I still have it. Started talking about individual plays and everything else and how much fun he had. And on the cane, he says, you know what's great about my life right now is I get a chance to go to sporting events virtually every night. Man, I get to go see sports every night. What a life. And as you know, Lenny, Jay Rink is probably not long for this earth.
No, and it's I had the fortune of working with Jay during his career at Tulane, publicizing his career, and it was, those were some interesting teams at Tulane, late 80s, early 90s, a lot of local kids, and really some talented teams that unfortunately, didn't win enough games on the field, but there were some of the great people that you meet, the Jay Rinks of the world, you wish him well, and you don't want to dismiss what's going on, and ALS is really a sad story, and we saw it take the life of Vince Gibson a couple of weeks ago. The story of Steve Gleason has been well publicized, but Jay Rink is a guy who's kind of, I don't want to say flown under radar with this. I don't think he wants it to be something, a sympathy case or anything like that, but keep these guys in your prayers. Steve Gleason, well publicized. Jay Rink as well as a lot of great people that you and I have had the chance to touch over the years through our different ventures, and Jay would certainly fit in that class. And I can say on behalf of the rest of the Sports Noah team, congratulations and well-deserved to Ken for receiving a great honor for his coverage of prep sports over the years, and well-deserved for your award from the LHSAA.
Thanks, Lenny. I want to mention that Jay visited Vince Gibson in the last weeks of his life. I think that was pretty special. I think you can read about Steve Gleason as well. Alan Donis with a great piece on Steve Gleason, and Scott Fujita, how they're still patron saints. And Jay, we're praying for you, and we love you. Michelle, same to you and the children. That's a wrap. Hope you have a great sports weekend. Lenny, thanks. Always a pleasure.
We'll see you on Monday.
And that's it. Check out Sports Noah TV Monday night, 6 p.m. on WHNO, Channel 20.